Well, good evening, everyone. We're so glad that you joined us tonight. We are going to have an incredible evening speaking about our upcoming July cruise. Maureen Basie, who is co-founder of Celiac Cruise, is a little under the weather tonight. So we are honored tonight to have a special guest, Vanessa Weisbrod. Hello, Vanessa.
Hi, Connie. Thanks for having me.
Vanessa is the Chief Education and Community Engagement Officer for the Celiac Disease Foundation and has been just a huge part of celiac disease from the very beginning. And we just appreciate you and all that you've done for us and with us, and honored to have you tonight. So without further ado, I'll do a little bit of housekeeping. If you have any questions, please put those in the Q&A and we will get to those in the end. Also, this webinar is being recorded. So if for some reason you have to hop off, then we will send the recording to everyone that's booked on the cruise and also post it in the Facebook group. So without further ado, let's talk about the cruise. Who's ready, right, Vanessa?
I mean, I am definitely ready, and I cannot wait to get on to Independence of the Seas again this summer.
So July 27th through August 1st, sailing to the Caribbean from Miami. Tonight, we're just going to go over just a few things so that you know everything you need to know about the Independence of the Seas, Coco Cay, Cozumel, how to get on the ship, what the dining's going to be like, the drink packages, the excursions. We're going to cover a lot, but we're going to cover it quickly. So that's why we're recording it, so you can watch it again and again. So this is not just a gluten-free cruise. This is the Celiac Cruise. And this webinar tonight is really just a taste of what's to come, right, Vanessa? It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, if it's your first time going on a celiac cruise, prepare to be amazed. I have been on, I think, all of the celiac cruises, and every single time, I mean, I remember the first one that I went on, I couldn't quite believe how much was available gluten-free. And every time I'm consistently like jaw on the floor, so impressed with the number of options that are available and just how wonderful a job Royal Caribbean has done to make sure that we feel safe and completely showered with gluten-free love. So this is true. Tonight is just a taste of what is to come.
Yay. So check-in's going to open very soon. If for some reason it doesn't open on June 12th, it'll probably be the 13th, but it's scheduled to open June 12th, and that's when you're going to schedule your boarding time. We suggest that you try to, pick the earliest available, but it's just a guide. They really don't manage this they don't really, enforce it very much anymore. They pretty much just want everyone to get on board comfortably. So rather than having long lines, they spread people out. But don't worry if your time is later, go ahead and head on over to the ship, and they'll normally let you on early. And you'll see later that the gluten-free lunch is waiting for you. So you'll want to certainly get on board as soon as possible. I would say around noonish would probably be a good gut feeling of when you should be there.
Yeah, and that's a really good advice, Connie. Having been on so many of these cruises, in the beginning, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to be the first one on the ship. Like, I have to be there at the stroke of 10:30. And you get there right at the beginning, and there's like tons of people there and like everyone pushing and shoving to get on. But if you give it just like a little bit of time and you get there at noon, like Connie said, there's like no more huge lines out in front and you can just walk right in. So I know it can sometimes feel like I have to be there the second they open. But giving it just like an hour can actually make a huge difference in how long it takes you to get through security and onto the ship.
Yes, absolutely. And even though the ship doesn't leave till 4, everyone should be on board by 2, because if it's any later than that, you might actually miss the boat, and you would hate to do that. So before you get on the boat, the ship, Miami and Fort Lauderdale is such a tourist attraction, such a great destination in itself. We'll be sending out this Miami and Fort Lauderdale dining guide to each one of you via email. We'll also post this in the Facebook group for our cruise. But there's a lot of gluten-free food in Miami and Fort Lauderdale. And these are places that we've tried and our guests have tried, and they continue to get really great reviews. And so to get to the ship, there's Ubers and transfers, and there's even a train now, a Brightline train in Florida. So lots of options. So on embarkation day, the Independence of the Seas is going to be in the Port of Miami. There's the address. We'll also put it in the email that comes out. You can print your luggage tags at home before you get there, or if you can't print your luggage tags for some reason, they'll have luggage tags at the port. So don't worry. You're going to get on the ship as long as you have your passport, or if you're a U.S. citizen, you can sail on this cruise with a photo ID and an original birth certificate. So if you have any questions, email us over at Celiac Cruise at totaltravelevents.com, and we can answer those. We're going to have the main dining room and also a dedicated gluten-free line in the Windjammer, which is the buffet. Lunch will be open around 11:30 till around 2 p.m. It's subject to change. And once we know the final times, we'll send that out to everyone. Normally the cabins don't open until about 1:30. So it's a great time for you to have a quick lunch, a delicious lunch, and then go to your cabin. That's where you'll find your room key card, and then stop on by the expo and see Vanessa and say hello and us.
Yes, absolutely.
And then there's sail away
Okay.
party too, right, Vanessa?
Oh yes, the sail away party is quite fun. So Connie, I want to touch just a second on food safety when it comes to the welcome lunch.
Sure.
So as Connie mentioned, our main dining room, deck 5, right? Is where the dedicated gluten-free dining room will be. And that's a sit-down lunch. So you will go in, you'll be brought a menu, you get to order, whatever you want from the different courses. It's quite divine and lovely. Everything is gluten-free. No gluten goes into that kitchen during the entire time that we're there, including beverages. So if one of your travel companions gets a non-gluten-free beer at a bar, they will not be able to bring that beer into the dedicated gluten-free dining room. Everything is gluten-free there. The Windjammer is upstairs. I forget which deck it's on, 15 or
14. Yeah,
14.
we'll see it in a second. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
So as I said, I've been on every celiac cruise, and never once has there been an issue with there being gluten in the gluten-free food. The only mistake that has ever been made is when on the boarding day, a guest came to the Windjammer, and there are floor-to-ceiling signs. There's banners, there's flags, there are people directing you to the gluten-free side. But there was a bit of a line when they showed up, and they didn't want to wait in the line. And so they went to the other side of the Windjammer and ate at the side where it wasn't gluten-free. So if you take nothing else away from tonight, it is to please follow the signage directing you to the right side of the Windjammer. And if there is a line, it's because there's so many excited people that are part of Celiac Cruise that want to get gluten-free food. But we promise you staying in that line will be the safest way, or go down to the main dining room where there's never a line. So please follow all signage.
Yes, great. Thank you. So as Vanessa said, we have exclusive dining on board. The main dining room is on deck 5. We're going to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner in there, sit down with a menu. The Windjammer is going to be on deck 11 on this ship. So every ship has a different deck. And so I knew it was on here. I just couldn't remember the exact deck either. But in the Windjammer, they have a dedicated gluten-free line for us on the port side for breakfast and lunch. But then that's where we're going to go for late night snacks. And, the cool thing about being part of Celiac Cruise is that there are no late night snacks for anyone else on the ship unless they went for pizza or something. The Windjammer buffet is closed. So what they do is they open it up just for us. As you can see in that bottom picture, it'll say gluten-free zone, and you have to have your wristband on to enter to have gluten-free snacks at night. So that's a highlight of the day. And you'll see on the email that we send you every night, there's a different theme for the late night snacks. So it might be, American night where we have hot dogs and hamburgers and things like that. it might be chicken wing night, or it might be, what are some of the other ones, Vanessa?
Churros and crepes.
I
Like,
thought
that's
you would
usually my
remember.
favorite night.
I thought you might remember that one.
Oh my gosh.
So
If you like churros, get ready because they are really good. And there was a donut night,
yeah,
group
pizza. There's
night.
usually a pizza night. So when you've had enough food all day, there's, more food. And the gluten-free ice cream cones. You want to talk about that, Vanessa?
Yes, sure. So there on the pool deck, there are soft serve ice cream machines, and there will be one line that has gluten-free cones at them, and the person serving at that line will only be serving the gluten-free cones. They will have clean gloves. They will only be touching gluten-free, and there will be no cross contact. Again, if there is a line at that particular soft serve station, it is because they are waiting for the gluten-free. Please do not skip out of that line and go to the other side where there are gluten-containing cones. Again, just always look for the signage, and the staffer who is serving that ice cream knows that they will be checking your wristbands to make sure that it's only going to people that are part of Celiac Cruise.
Thank you.
Also, there's a question. Do you want me? Oh, there we go. We have the drink question, since there's a question in the Q&A about beverages and whether or not there is a celiac safe bar. So Connie and I do this really awesome role play on the ship when we do the trainings, which we'll talk more about in a little bit. But Connie, I think we should just pull this one out for old time's sake.
Okay. So where's the gluten-free bar?
Well, there isn't one because there doesn't need to be one. So every single bar on the ship, the only thing that is not safe is the gluten-containing beer. All of the liquors, all of the mixers, all of it is gluten-free and safe for our group. The only thing you cannot have is the gluten-containing beer. So please do not drink the gluten-containing beer. The good news is that we have Holidaily, who is the official beer partner of Celiac Cruise. Their beer will be available at every bar on the ship, as well as part of the drink package. So you can get gluten-free beer at every single bar. You also do not need to worry about the straws. The straws are made by a company called Strawfish, and they are made from like biodegradable oyster shells. And so they are, the way in which they're processed, if you have a shellfish allergy, they are also not a problem. And there is no gluten or wheat to be found in those straws. So you are good at any bar on the ship.
And I might just add, thank you. I might just add that you don't have to get the drink package to purchase a Holidaily beer or any beverage on board. You can just purchase it by the beverage, to go to the bar and buy a drink, or you can buy the unlimited alcohol package or unlimited soda package, refreshment package, or just water package through royalcaribbean.com. The things that are free on the cruise are iced water, iced tea, milk, juice, regular and decaf coffee, but things like bottled water, specialty coffees, sodas, and alcohol, those cost. And you can either pay for them by the drink or you can buy a package.
So wait, Connie, if we can stay on the bar for just a second, there's a flurry
Okay.
of questions in the Q&A about the bars.
Okay.
So people are worried about cross contact with gluten if the bartenders are serving beer. So the beer is actually served, as you can sort of see in Connie's photo up there, the beer comes in bottles. And so they there's not a tap that they are pouring from. And so it is quite contained. The barware, there is, it depends on where you are, if it's plastic or glass. By the pool, it is plastic. If you are inside at a bar, it is glassware, but everything is washed according to, health code and all of the standards that are required to be followed. And so there is not a risk of cross contact from beer at the bars. I know it's hard to imagine, but we've done this a lot of times, and they are truly so careful about things. It's not like beer splashing all over the place, like I think you're probably envisioning on, like a crazy spring break vacation. It's actually very clean, very sanitary, and there is not sloshing around of things behind the bar.
Awesome. Any other questions about the bar?
Those are all for now, but I'll keep
Okay.
an eye on it.
So teamwork. Okay. Excursions. So the one thing that I want to tell you is that, excursions are great, but you don't necessarily have to do an excursion to enjoy your time. In Cozumel, you can just get off and walk around. There's a shopping area and a swimming area close by. You can grab a cab and go downtown in Cozumel. But if you want to do an excursion, those are available on royalcaribbean.com. Here again, when we go to Coco Cay, you don't have to do anything at all. It has the largest freshwater swimming pool in the Caribbean. There's tons of things to do that are complimentary, including our complimentary lunch that we're going to have, but also just the whole being able to get off and enjoy, the island of Cozumel and the island of Coco Cay are just amazing. There's some really cool things to do if you want to splurge and do something fun in those islands. We suggest that you get them through Royal Caribbean as part of your online check-in. And we also suggest that you don't choose one that has food, because we can't vet the vendors of Royal Caribbean's excursions. And so we can't really vet the restaurants that the food comes from on these excursions. Do you want to talk about that a little bit, Vanessa?
Yeah, so what Connie says is completely accurate. So there are dozens, maybe even hundreds of excursions offered on every cruise, and it's impossible to vet every single one of them through Royal. And so there are tons of options where it does not cross a mealtime. And so you can be back at the ship to eat your meals on the ship or on the island, wherever we are. That being said, my family, I have celiac disease, as does my 10-year-old son, and we have done excursions in a lot of these places. And I've just really made an effort on my own to reach out to the tour operator or to the resort that we're going to. Last summer when we did this cruise, although we don't go to Nassau this year. Last year we stopped in Nassau. We went to Atlantis for the day. And so, I was able to reach out to them and speak to them about what the options were and how to plan and a contact for when we got there. And so I would encourage you that if you are going to do one of those excursions, that you do that homework in advance on your own and just make sure that you are set for the day. We've also done excursions that were all day, and that there wasn't a great option, but my family really wanted to do whatever that excursion was. And so I brought a lot of snacks with me. I always travel with granola bars, with fruit sticks, and just dried things that are shelf stable that I can keep in my backpack so that we can get through the day and not worry about it. You can't take food off of the ship onto the excursions, and so you really do need to plan ahead for what you're going to do, or to take dried shelf stable food with you in your bag.
And we'll add some gluten-free bars into your goodie bags when you check in at the expo. But we don't really have to worry about that at all on Coco Cay, because Coco Cay is Royal Caribbean's private island. And not only do we not have to worry about bringing food off the ship, but we have a dedicated gluten-free area on Coco Cay, which we'll tell you more about when we send out all the details. But do you want to talk about that a second?
I do indeed. Okay. So remember what I said at the beginning. Connie, can we go back to the slide that had the picture of the gluten-free zone sign for a second? Okay, so right there, you all see that sign. That sign will be at Coco Cay. It will be at the Windjammer. It will be anytime that there is a gluten-free buffet. They also have these really beautiful flags that fly and just like gracefully fly in the wind at Coco Cay. If you do not see that sign and those flags around the buffet, or all of the Celiac Cruise team members in their brightly colored Celiac Cruise shirts, do not eat there, please, okay? There are multiple food places that have buffets at Coco Cay, and there's only one of them that has the dedicated gluten-free line. And so it is, I forgot the name of the complex where it is. I've been
Skipper's Grill.
Skipper's Grill.
Skipper's
Thank
Grill.
you. Skipper's Grill. It's just past Captain Jack's. It is very, very close, like steps away from the splash pad and kids area. That is the only place that has the dedicated gluten-free line at CocoCay. And so even though you can see in your eye line other buffets, do not eat at those unless you see the Celiac Cruise signage and banners, and they even have little cards around them that have the celiac, like every dish is labeled and they have the Celiac Cruise logo on them. So please, please, please do not eat somewhere that does not have these labels on them. If you don't see them, they are not part of our dedicated gluten-free zone. Also, at CocoCay, there are 2 soft serve ice cream machines, one on either side of the buffet area. Only one of them is gluten-free, okay? So here's how you're gonna know. One, I hope everyone's raising their hand. They're saying, yes, Vanessa, we know there will be signage. Yes, there will be signage. However, the gluten-free one is farther from the water. If you are standing at the ice cream machine and you can see the ocean right next to you, you're at the wrong one. You want to be at the one that is at the very other side, the entrance to the gluten-free area. This will be very obvious when you get there, I promise, but just make sure that you're only eating from places where you see the Celiac Cruise logos and signage.
And the gluten-free signage. And it's also okay to ask, because someone will be serving you the ice cream. They don't let you just go get your own. So someone will be serving you, and it's okay to ask, hey, is this the gluten-free side? And they'll know. Everybody on CocoCay will know where we're supposed to be.
And make sure to tell your kids this too. You know, if I know a lot of kids are probably not sitting through this presentation right now, but make sure when you first get on the ship that you show your kids what these signs look like, so that if they are on their own, or, you know, they're running up because they want to grab a gluten-free cookie or brownie from the buffet at CocoCay, which are so good, by the way, and I always like shove some in my beach bag to take back for later because they are so good. Make sure your kids know to only grab from those buffets with the signage.
Yes. So the ship, wow. It's like a floating city. It's got Broadway show, Grease, the full length, amazing. It's got rock climbing walls. There's an ice skating rink, so you can go ice skating. You need to bring jeans and socks to go ice skating, and you have to have socks and shoes to go rock climbing. All of that's free. There's also Flow Rider, where you can go surfing on board a ship in the middle of the ocean, and they have different levels that you can do. So if you're just lay down, you can do it on your belly. If you want to get up on your knees, then you can do it that way. Or like this gentleman who's probably a pro is up there. And even if you're not into surfing, which I'm not, it's so fun to go back there and watch people, because it's just a very unique thing to be surfing on a cruise in the middle of the ocean. There's lots of pools, there's lots of water slides, there's lots of things to do that for little kids, big kids, and those of us who are adult kids, lots of fun things to do all over the ship. So there's a place called Playmakers where we'll have some of our get-togethers. That's just one of the locations. That's a sports bar. So if you happen to be in sports, you know, into sports, you can go watch something there too. So this is really our most important slide, I would think. And since we have the most important person on this webinar tonight who knows about gluten-free safety, I'm going to let you take it away.
Sure. So the training on the cruises is my job. So as Connie mentioned, I am the Chief of Education for the Celiac Disease Foundation, and we oversee all of the training and education for the staff of all of the Celiac Cruise sailings. So while you are all at home packing and getting ready to come down to Florida to get on the ship, I will already be on the ship the entire week before, training all of the crew members on board. So typically we train anywhere from 1,200 to 1,500 crew members that are on the ship. Everybody from housekeeping to the cleaning crews to the chefs, the guest services staff, anyone who comes in contact with food, the bartender, vendors. We train everybody. It is a very, very long and exciting, busy week for us. I also go through and check every single product that is brought on board. So we go down into the underbelly of the ship. You should follow along Celiac Cruise and Celiac Disease Foundation on social media. We will be posting all throughout the week, including when we go to the underbelly of the ship to check all of the products. So from the port in Miami, they load on these huge pallets of food, and they all get stored underneath all the guest areas, which we call the underbelly of the ship. And so we get to go into all of the refrigerators, the freezers, the dry stores, and we check every product that came on the ship to make sure that it is in fact gluten-free and safe for our group. We have at times found something that isn't, and so we get rid of it and they bring something else on new when we dock that will work for us. But then we check it all again when they bring it upstairs to our gluten-free kitchen to make sure that the right products got transferred upstairs and the right ingredients are being used in our gluten-free kitchens. And so we do a really, really thorough job on this to make sure that no gluten comes into these spaces that have been completely sanitized to be gluten-free. We review all the menus in advance to make sure that there's nothing, like there's not couscous on the menu or things that are, standard in the other dining rooms that don't get translated to our menus. Before y'all come on board for your welcome aboard lunch, we inspect the entire kitchen to make sure that we are satisfied with the cleaning job that happened before the gluten-free products came in, and just make sure that everything is really ready to go. So I know that it can be scary to travel and to be in a space that just had, 5,000 people get off that were eating gluten. But please rest assured that we are doing a very thorough job with this, and please follow along on social media so that you can see behind the scenes of what we're doing.
And do you want to talk for a second about how those products are stored separately? Because they're not all just one big room in the underbelly.
Yeah, so they section off areas that are just for our gluten-free products so that they are all together. They are on pallets together, and so it's not just like gluten-free, gluten on top of it. Everything is separated and kept very much in our dedicated gluten-free zones.
Yeah, it's even locked separately. We had to go get someone to get a key that last time,
That's
remember?
right.
Because our stuff was all in a locked environment. Nobody could go in or out, and they couldn't find the key, and then they did.
The
So
chef
that
was
was,
very worried that someone would use it for a different sailing, and so he locked it up.
yes. So it's just something you don't have to worry about because Vanessa has done all the worrying for you. So she's taken care of all that for you. So we have some really cool onboard events that we're going to be offering. It's your vacation, so you can do whatever you want, but we're going to have some really incredible people on board who I'll let Vanessa talk in a second about the educational events, but we also are going to have some adult meetups. So if the adults want to get together and just hang out, get to know each other, there's going to be some really cool events for the kids to get to know each other. There's some philanthropy events, and a lot of that revolves around the Celiac Disease Foundation because of our Cruising for a Cause. So Vanessa, why don't you take this away?
Sure. So our educational events are so much fun. So we'll do one keynote presentation where we'll talk about big topics in celiac disease. What's the latest research showing? Where are we with clinical trials? Nutritional updates, really big topics in celiac disease. And then we'll have meetups throughout the week. Our signature one is called Coffee and Conversations, which is really meant for adults, where we come in together and we talk as a community about things that are on our mind. Every one of them goes a different direction with where we focus, but it's really what you want to talk about and what brings us all together as a community on the ship. We also have events that are targeted just for kids and families, families with young children. These are probably my favorite events. So I have an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old, and they've been coming on these cruises since the first one in 2020. And I have to say that my kids have made lifelong best friends being on Celiac Cruise at these kids events. They have made friends that they FaceTime with, daily or weekly. People that we've traveled with outside of Celiac Cruise that they are bonded with for life because of this. And so I would encourage you to attend these events and just come with an open mind, ready to connect with people, because it's really one of my favorite parts of being on Celiac Cruise. The philanthropy events all support the Cruising for a Cause program that Connie and Maureen have put together to support food insecure families with celiac disease. As you will see when you get on this ship, we will feel extremely food secure. And so it's a really wonderful opportunity to think about those who really struggle to access gluten-free food and may not even be able to access it at all. And so we're really grateful to Connie and Maureen for championing this. And over the last 4 years, they have fed hundreds of families through the dollars that they have raised on these cruises. And so thank you in advance for all of you who will participate in them and be a part of it.
And all of those
Oh,
will
and
have.
I forgot, I need to talk about the speaker. So with us for the keynote presentation this summer is Mary Vargas. For those of you who do not know Mary, Mary is the preeminent disability lawyer in celiac disease. Mary has litigated all of the cases that around education where there has been exclusion, where kids were not able to access food. So Mary it is a treat to get to hear her talk. And so I hope that you will all come and listen to her presentation.
And all of these events will be emailed to everyone that's booked. So if it's an event that has a fee attached, the only reason why we would charge a fee is because it's a philanthropy event and all the money goes to our fundraiser to feed families. But all of the events, the keynotes, the meetups, all that will be on the schedule, and you'll have it all in writing a little closer to the sailing. So without any further ado, let's see what kind of questions we have.
There are a lot of them.
I'll just start with this one and I'll let you answer it. So this one says, will there be food available during the day or just at mealtime? Also, will we be having lunch on the date of departure and breakfast on the date of disembarkation?
So just the easy part first. Yes, there will be lunch on the day of departure as well as breakfast on the day that you get off. So yes, there's always food available, and like you will not go hungry on this cruise. There's like full humongous breakfast, lunch, and dinner. There you get snacks in your welcome bag that you can bring to your room. There's always gluten-free pizza available at Sorrento's. And so like my kids throughout the day will just like run to Sorrento's. The pizzas are all put together in the gluten-free dining or in the dedicated kitchen, and then they're cooked in their own oven. And they are really, really, really good pizzas. And so that's like really our go-to. Is there, Connie, I can't remember, sorry, all the ships are running together. Is there a promenade on this one that's going to have, no, there's not a promenade.
Yes, there's a promenade, but not a port cafe. So yeah, there's going to be gluten-free sandwiches, snacks available that are pre-wrapped. Do you want to talk about how that's safe?
Yes. So the sandwiches that are available at this venue are all made in the dedicated gluten-free kitchen. They are wrapped and then they are transported to the venue for serving. And so they eliminate the risk of cross contact. So just make sure you're getting one of the wrapped gluten-free sandwiches or muffins or whatever the item is, so that you are, getting one that works for you.
Awesome. Okay, so Cindy said you must have both photo ID and birth certificate. Yes, passports are always the best, but a photo ID and birth certificate would work as long as you're over 16 and you have a photo ID. Little kids don't need that. Susan asks, how many gluten-free guests will be on board? About 700. So this is one of our larger ones. Vanessa, I'll let you answer the next one.
Sure. So the difference between the main dining room and the Windjammer. So the main dining room is a sit-down meal where you're ordering off of a menu. And the Windjammer is when it's a buffet. And so if you go to the Windjammer, it's whatever is out is out. They're not able to modify anything at the Windjammer. It's made from the gluten-free line, it's taken to the Windjammer for service, and that's what's there. If you want to order things the way you want them, other modifications for other food allergies, you should absolutely go to the main dining room because they won't be able to accommodate it in the Windjammer. Um, does main dining room serve gluten-free food covered with this booking? Um, I don't quite understand that part of it, but our main, so there's 3 levels of main dining room, 3, 4, and 5. We are on deck 5, and we are utilizing only the deck 5 kitchen, which is made gluten-free for our sailing. Decks 3 and 4 have their own kitchen, and those are not dedicated gluten-free. I hope if I didn't answer the question, let us know.
And I'll let you do the next one too, because it's talking about other allergens like milk, for example.
Well, other ingredients we listed in the gluten-free foods. I don't know the answer to that right now. It's been different on different ships. The best thing that you can do when you get on board, so Celiac Cruise is gluten-free, and Royal Caribbean is wonderful about accommodating other allergies. They just need to know that you need it. And so when you get on board, it's important that we let whomever the head waiter is, we won't know that until the week prior. We let that person know, and that you let your server know so that they can make sure that the food is made for you, in your case, dairy free. But the same rule applies to any other allergy that you may have. The food is all gluten-free, and we are able to get you information once we're on board and we see what products are there for what other ingredients are in the gluten-free products. But again, the number one important thing to do is to let your server know, and to make sure we let the head server of our dining room know. I make a huge effort when we're on the training cruise to go through, we do have a list of everyone who reported other food allergies. Historically, we've had a lot of people that have a soy allergy and soy is in a lot of the gluten-free products. And so we make an effort to touch base with everybody who we've identified. If we see that there is a common allergen, to touch base with everybody to make sure that they know certain things to avoid or where we can make replacements. But again, just making sure that we know and that the servers know is really important.
And make sure that you ask. It's okay to ask your waiter, or Vanessa will be on board. We can always ask Vanessa if she has any questions. She makes photos of all the ingredients, and she can help make sure that that the ingredients are good for whatever your allergies or dietary restrictions are. You've already answered this one. Is the food in the Windjammer cooked in the dedicated kitchen? And yes, it is. Can you comment on dairy-free food? So I think we just did that. Is there hot
There's a
tea?
lot dairy free. There's always vegan options on the menu. The vegan options tend to also be the vegetarian options. But if you are somebody who wants to have a steak and it is not listed as dairy free, don't worry about it. Just ask them to make it without butter for you. They are able to modify other of the proteins to also be dairy free. So don't freak out when you sit down and you see that the vegan and vegetarian option are one and alike. There are other modifications that can be made.
This one says, is there hot tea available and plant-based milk?
Yes, there's hot tea available, and they have almond milk, soy milk, and oat milk. And we will double check on the oat milk again when we board, but it was gluten-free on the last sailings.
Gluten-free, let's see.
We
Will
touched
there
on
be,
that
yeah,
already.
are all the celiac sufferers on the same deck? So everybody gets different types of cabins. So you'll be in different cabins all over the ship, but we'll come together for our gluten-free meals. How do we know what activities are complimentary when we're at the port? Most activities that you do through a shore excursion, you would have to pay for. But if like the pools or anything like that is included for free. Everything on Coco Cay, like the pools, the lounge chairs, the umbrellas, all of that is free. It's only if you want to do something like a
Cabana.
a shore excursion or something. Yes.
Cabanas are not free.
Yes. Someone asked what time Coco Cay lunch will be. I'm trying to plan an excursion around it.
It's usually like 11 to 1-ish. But Connie, I
Okay.
see you looking that up.
Yep.
Are the items you can take snacks for excursions? Yeah, so they will give you bars and some snacks in the bag that you bring on board. But like any good person with celiac disease, you know, come prepared. I always bring a bag of snacks with me on the cruise, so that we have it and we are not going to go hungry. I think we lost Connie, but I will keep going with the questions. If we go on an excursion to Chichen Itza, will there be a place to buy snacks? I don't know the answer to that question. I would make sure that you look into what the excursion is and where you will be stopping along the way, so that you can look into some research, check out Find Me Gluten Free, and just look up what your options are before you go. My kids are celiac, but my husband and I are not. Can we parents eat at any other places, or do we always have to eat at the gluten-free places? So I actually wish my husband was here right now, and my dad, because neither one of them have celiac, and they have been on all of the celiac cruises as well. You can certainly eat at other places on the ship. There is nothing restricting you from doing so, but you'll do it once and then you'll realize that everything in the gluten-free dining room is better, and you will come back and only want to eat in the gluten-free dining room. My dad is a hilarious 82-year-old human, and when he started going on these, he's like, I'm gonna go and eat the gluten-filled things. I'm like, no problem, Dad, go ahead. And then he did, and he was like, the celiac dining room is better. It's just more innovative, more inspired, and just better. So, oh, Connie got stuck offline. Her power died. That is okay, Connie. I'm just gonna let her know. Okay, she's gonna try and sign back on when her power is restored. Okay. So anyways, feel free to eat anywhere on the ship that you would like if you do not have celiac disease, but I want to hear from you afterwards if you agree with my family on this. Okay. Will the food on buffets be marked with ingredients so we know if they are both gluten-free and dairy-free? So this has varied widely by ship. And it really depends on the food and beverage director and what their ultimate decision is for labeling. And truly, it has been different on every sailing. If it is not labeled, and they will not be labeled for all ingredients, that is for sure. There will not be every ingredient labeled. Most often you will see it with gluten-free and dairy-free or contains dairy. If you have an issue with dairy or other allergens, again, please identify yourself to your server, to the head waiter, to the servers in the windjammer to get a chef to come out and talk to you. That is your best option. Can you take food out of the dining room? You can. So I have gone to the dining room before, like if my kids are still sleeping for breakfast, I've gone and ordered and taken it back to the room. You can do that. Or you can do the same in the windjammer, but you cannot take that food off the ship with you. You can't take anything fresh off the ship. Can you order room service? So there are gluten-free options on room service. However, it will not be prepared in the dedicated gluten-free kitchen. So again, Royal Caribbean is going through extensive training. We are training everybody, including the room service staff, and they do this every single day on their sailings. So they're extremely capable of preparing gluten-free food for you. However, disclaimer, it is not prepared in the gluten-free kitchen if you order from room service. So it is, again, at your own risk. I think we answered this already. There will be some bars given to you at check-in that you can take with you off the ship, but it is not a lot. It's like a bar per person. So if you anticipate wanting snacks off the ship, definitely bring them along. Are we allowed to bring our own food, and are there refrigerators? No, there are not okay, there's like a mini fridge in the room, but it's barely sufficient to chill a bottle of wine. So it is certainly not safe to keep fresh food in. You're also not allowed to bring your own fresh food onto the ship. And nor do you need to. There is so much gluten-free food that you don't need to bring your own food. There are tons of vegetarian options. There's always a vegan option. There's always a vegetarian option. How many people are part of the sailing? I believe Connie said about 700. Let's see if Connie is still without power. Oh, there she is. We have Connie back. Welcome back. I'm sorry about your power, Connie.
I had to get on my phone.
Well, we are just here plugging away. So we're on, will there be a taste of Royal on this cruise? And I think we're hopeful that there will be, but we're still waiting for confirmation.
Yes.
Yes. But as soon as we know, you will all know as well.
Yes, because we would send an email to everyone and you could register for it.
Okay, what about soap on the ship? We will check those all. They've always all been gluten-free. And I don't anticipate there to have been a change since the last sailing in February, but if there is, we will let you know. Will there be teen events? Yes, there are always meetups for teens. We do them early on in the week so that the teens meet each other and then become like a little pack running around the ship. It's quite adorable. So yes, there will be teen events. Can we do Royal Up with Celiac Cruise?
Yes, you can. You should get an email about 30 days prior or reach out to us and we can teach you how to bid for that.
Is there a restaurant guide for Cozumel? Not that I'm aware of.
No.
Yeah, no. Is there food during kids club? There is not. So you should feed your kids before. There is a program, I don't know if it's on this ship. There was on Oasis where they did feed them, but feed your kid in the dedicated gluten-free dining room. If there is an activity with food in the kids club, it will not come from the dedicated gluten-free kitchen. So feed your child before taking them to kids club. Will we receive information on where to find our ship at the Miami port of intake or take a lift? Is it too late to schedule a transport?
It is too late to schedule a transfer, but it's Uber and Lyft is there. A taxi might even be faster because on embarkation day, there's so many people trying to take Uber and Lyft. But we'll send the port address to everyone in the final email that we send out right before the cruise.
What time is breakfast, Connie?
Usually it's like 8 to 9 or somewhere in there. It depends on if it's a port day or not, and every day is different. And once we know the specific times, then we will put that in that final email as well.
Connie, I think it's earlier because I've been on breakfast duty at 6 a.m. So I think
sometimes it's early. So maybe we'll hope that it's later. It might be 7 to 8:30, but it does change based on whether we're at sea or whether we're in port and what time we pull in port. And then, the buffet has our dedicated line, which has longer hours as well.
What are the formal nights or theme nights?
We'll give those to you as we get a little closer to. There's always one night that's kind of dress up. It's a little more formal. They call it dress your best. And that's when some people decide that they want to dress up. It's your vacation. So you can wear whatever you want. Well, not whatever you want, but I mean, you don't have to wear a tux or a suit or a long dress. But a lot of people do love to get fancy. And it's a great night for family photos. And it's a great night to just get dressed up and enjoy maybe going to a show after dinner or just taking a stroll around. There's photographers all over the ship and they make free photos. And then you just pick the ones to purchase that you want to buy. They're like $20 a photo, but you don't have to pay for the photos to be taken. So it's a great way to get like a family photo.
It's actually really fun. My kids like to run around the entire ship and get a photo with every different backdrop. So it's a really, really, really good way to get your holiday card photo done.
Yes.
Age range for children activities. It spans. So we do families with young children. We do kids that are, okay, so it's like 8 and under. And then we do 9 to 12 and then teenagers. How frequently are there gluten-free options that are also dairy-free? Very frequently. They are very, very very well aware that there are a large number of people with both celiac disease and an intolerance to dairy. So there are plenty of gluten-free and dairy-free options. Is the main dining room open for lunch on departure day around noon or just the Windjammer? Yes, main dining room and the Windjammer are both open on departure day, I believe starting at 11:30.
I believe so.
Is there a gym on the ship? Yes, there is a gym, and it is free to use the gym unless you go to like the special spin classes or additional things. But yes, there is a gym. There's an awesome 7:30 a.m. abs class that I go to on every ship. So yes, they're there, and those are free. So yes, and there's a walking track. It's very nice. Is there a dress code, Connie, for dining room?
So they don't want you to wear bathing suits or, casual, like that casual. For breakfast and lunch, you can wear shorts and, a t-shirt, whatever you want. For dinner, some people still wear shorts for dinner, but most people change for dinner and they'll wear slacks and a nice shirt. Typically, ladies wear like a cocktail dress or maybe slacks and a shirt or maybe capris or something like that. It's not real, it's definitely not formal in terms of black tie with a tux, but it is, you're going to a really nice dinner. So if it makes you feel good to get dressed up and go to dinner, then that's what we suggest you do.
So I answered the question about eating in other dining rooms, but since it was asked later on, again, I will just say it one more time. If you have family members who don't have celiac, they can eat wherever they want to on the ship. However, as I said before, they will not want to after they do it once because the celiac gluten-free dining room is just better. It really is. And also, we didn't say this before, but so many times I think our family members who don't have celiac are like, oh, I'm looking downstairs. What am I missing on decks 3 and 4? It's like, what is all the gluten that I'm missing? But the truth is that the menus are almost identical. They've made it that way so that you aren't missing anything by eating in the dedicated gluten-free dining room. It's just the things like bread and pasta and panko breadcrumbs, things that are the gluten-free alternatives that are brought in. And so your non-celiac gluten-eating sailing mates are not missing anything by being in the dining room with you. If dairy-free, do you suggest only eating in the dining room for breakfast and lunch? There's a lot of dairy-free options in the Windjammer. It really sort of depends on what the day is. So there's always like hamburgers and hot dogs and French fries. There's typically like an ethnic dish, so a Mexican themed or an Indian themed. And so there's typically a lot of dairy-free options in the Windjammer. But again, if you want to modify something on the menu, you would want to go to the main dining room. Connie, where can they update food allergies?
So if they can always reach out to us at Celiac Cruise at totaltravelevents.com. When they did their form online, they included what their allergies and dietary restrictions were. And we have already sent that to you and also to the ship. So everybody is well aware of what they are. If you need to update those, just let us know. You can do it now, or you can let us know on board the ship either way.
In Mexico, did you say we can't take food? Okay, so you can never take food off the ship that's fresh food, but you can take packaged, shelf-stable snacks off the ship in your bag. I thought we had to pay an extra charge on Coco TK to use beach chairs since there's a beach club. Is that not right? Is there complimentary beach chairs?
So I'll answer that one. So there are complimentary beach chairs all around the large pool. There's beach chairs on the beach, umbrella, all of those are free. The things that you pay for are like a cabana, and those are kind of like a private hut that has your name on it, and it's got, your server and everything. The beach club is a special place that you go to that's in kind of an elevated experience with, a heated pool, and we won't need to worry about that in July, but, it's got comfy lounge chairs, and, you pay to go to this exclusive like South Beach kind of club, but you don't have to do that. All the beach chairs around the pool and the beach are all free, and the umbrellas, there's hammocks, everything.
Is lunch included at Coco Cay?
Yes. And Skipper's Grill on one side only, and watch the beginning of this where Vanessa went into a lot of detail about it. Look for the signs.
I'm just going to tell everyone this webinar is being recorded and it will be made available afterwards by email, by the Facebook group. So yes, you will be able to get it. If we eat in another dining area, is it included or do we pay separately?
So there is no other dining areas there's a couple of specialty restaurants on board that you do have to pay for, but you would know that because when you make a reservation, it tells you how much it costs to go there. And please note that those places are not a dedicated gluten-free environment. So just know that going in, and just make sure that you advocate for yourself and your dietary restrictions, and just know that it's not one of our dedicated gluten-free areas. So if you want to venture out, that's fine, but it's not dedicated.
How do we prepay gratuities?
So prepaid gratuities are, you can add those to your booking, but at this point, it's already June, so you can just let us know and we can add it, but it's the same price if you wait and pay it on board. So it's probably getting a little close to the sailing to be able to add them. And since it's the same price, it's not like a discount to pay it now. But you can email us at Celiac Cruise at Total Travel Events and we can add them.
Can we pick our dining time when registration opens?
So our dining is early dining and our whole group eats at early dining. That way you have plenty of space to add the late night snacks if you're hungry later. We do this for several reasons. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner are all served in the main dining room, and we have the early time for our dedicated gluten-free restaurant.
Is the dining room open seating or do we have reserved tables?
During breakfast and lunch, it's open seating, but at night for dinner, you will have an assigned seat with assigned table mates, and you'll get to know them on the whole 5 nights that you're there. You'll probably make lifelong friends.
Any tips on cell phone usage?
Yes. So you'll want to check with your cell phone carrier prior to leaving. You'll also want to check with your credit card company prior to leaving to make sure they know you're going on a cruise, and your bank in case you need to get money out of the ATM. But check your cell phone company. Let them know you're going on a cruise. Typically, what we suggest is when you get on the ship, you put your phone on airplane mode and you connect to the ship's Wi-Fi, either free by using their app, or you can pay for the Wi-Fi if you want to stay in touch with loved ones back home via, emails and text and phone calls and things like that. But if you do not want to purchase the internet, you'll want to put your phone on airplane mode, and that way you won't be charged.
Are there activities for older teens, early 20s? Kids are 19 and 20. The oldest age range that we say is teens. And so if they felt comfortable going to the teen group, that's where it would be. We don't do well, I guess we do the meetups at the bars and lounges in the evening, though that would not work for a 20-year-old.
Yeah.
So not exactly perfect.
Well, I will say that Royal Caribbean has done a great job in this area because they have a brand new club on board the ship for just those folks like your children to meet up and do things together and hang out together, and it's all age appropriate, so it's no drinking or anything like that. It's just for the people that want to get together and have fun and have age appropriate fun.
I'm traveling solo. Will I be put with others for meals in the dining room?
Yes. We try to always put the solos together or together with people that might not be solos, but are about the same age.
It's just me and my daughter. Do we have to sit with other people? Are there tables for 2?
Everybody's already been assigned by the ship at this point, and if it's you and your daughter, then we probably put you with somebody else and a daughter, or maybe somebody with just children your child's age. We try to do that to make sure that the ship does that to try to make sure that you have fun at dinner too. So yeah.
Is there a place on the ship to buy gluten-free snacks? No, there's not a place on the ship to buy gluten-free snacks. So one, I promise nobody's ever going to be hungry on this cruise. There's so much food. But again, you're traveling, and so you should travel prepared to have things that you might want. I always come on the Celiac Cruise with tons of snacks for my kids. I have an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old, and I come with gluten-free pretzels, with fruit sticks, with dried apple slices, popcorn, things that you know your kids or you are going to want. Tons of granola bars. There's these awesome peanut butter and jelly bars at Costco now that are gluten-free. And so I bring those with me because they're really easy and definitely satisfying and filling. So, plan ahead and, bring what you think you might want on the ship, because there's not a place to buy snacks. Connie, there's a lot of questions about like cabin stuff. Do you want me to go through those right now? I know we're already at time.
Yeah, we can go through them quickly.
Okay, we have 2 cabins and each parent is assigned with one with a kid. Do we need to fill out permission document that Royal Caribbean sent for unaccompanied minors?
No.
Okay. We are told we have a balcony that can adjoin. How do we let them know we want the balcony to be opened?
Just let your cabin steward know that you would like to have it open, and he or she will take care of that.
Char is not the only gluten-free bread on the ship. There are other brands of gluten-free bread. What is the Facebook group name? I don't know off the top of my head. But it's something like search Celiac Cruise, like July.
Independence.
Yeah, Independence.
Yeah. It's on the emails too that we send. It's on the bottom. It's our Facebook link for this cruise. So.
Oh my goodness. We have a question from Miss Charlene. Guys, you are in like the presence of Celiac Cruise royalty. Charlene is, I think, the only other person who's been on as many Celiac cruises as I have. And Miss Charlene, I sure hope there will be gluten-free churros, but I will confirm with you soon. Do you try to group dining by age?
Yes. Royal Caribbean tries to put people together that are the same age or has the same age kids.
Is there a limit to how many snacks you can bring on the ship? No, there's not a limit, and I bring a lot of them. So no, there's not a limit to the dry snacks. Travel insurance?
Yes, if you haven't gotten it, you need to get it, because if you have to cancel, you'll lose all your money. Also, if you're traveling and you need medical assistance, or you get hurt or sick or something and have to see the doctor, it would cover all that. So as long as you're still fit for travel, you can still purchase travel insurance. So reach out to us tonight so that we can reply tomorrow with an updated travel insurance quote.
All right. And what travel insurance do you recommend?
The one that we quoted you. It's Travel Safe, and everybody got a quote as soon as they booked, and we'll be happy to re-quote you if you didn't purchase it when you got your quote.
And are there irons on board?
There are not, because irons are a fire hazard. So the only way to get something ironed is to send it out for pressing. But guess what? There's 3,000 other people on this ship that also have wrinkled clothes, and nobody seems to care. Everybody really worries about it before the cruise, but then during the cruise, nobody worries about it anymore. Once you get on board, you don't worry about it anymore, right?
So we have a little visitor, Brandon. There's like 74 people here who are about to go on a Celiac Cruise, many of them their first time. What do you have to tell them about Celiac Cruise?
How many people are on this chat?
74. What do you tell them your best memory about Celiac Cruise?
Mine's probably all the amazing food on the cruise and being able to eat everything.
This is my 10-year-old with celiac, and it's definitely like a dream come true. So you heard it from Brandon, totally non-biased.
Wow. Thanks, Brandon.
Leo, do you want to add anything about Celiac Cruise? This is my 8-year-old.
The best thing ever.
I didn't pay them to say this.
Wow.
You should pay them to say this. No.
Okay, well, Megan from Char be joining. Megan from Char will not be on the July sailing. She will be on other sailings ahead, though, including the one in June, in just a little over a week and a half.
I know.
Is there a place to wash our clothes? You can send out a bag of laundry. There's not like self-service laundry, but you could like fill a bag. I think it's around $30 to do a bag of laundry. Connie, we have answered every question.
Wow, this is great. Well, I'm sorry my power flickered and there's no internet here, but I'm glad I was able to get on my cell phone and get back on board. So thanks for rolling with this when we had a bad storm. That's what Florida's for, right? So, but Vanessa, gosh, thank you so much for being here tonight. If there's additional questions, please just email us and we'll be happy to answer those. And we will record this and send it out to everyone. But gosh, Vanessa, you really just, thank you so much for everything.
So happy to be here. But wait, Connie, before we can sign off, sorry, there's a hysterical question in the not a question, a statement in the chat.
Okay.
If I hide, will the boat just leave me at Coco Cay?
We would all have to hide together, I think, because I certainly want to hide there too. That's a great question. Let's just do that.
But I will tell you that the dedicated gluten-free line comes from our ship. And so once our ship pulls out, so does the gluten-free line. So you actually want to get back on the ship to keep the gluten-free food afloat.
Good call. Good call. Well, thank you everyone for joining us tonight. We went over a few minutes, but I think it was worth it. We look forward to seeing everyone in just a few short weeks. It's going to be here before you know it. Be sure to check out our 2025 and cruises because they're selling out fast and we're so excited to see you all very soon. Thanks again, Vanessa, and everyone. Have a great night.
Thanks, Connie. Bye, everyone.
Thanks so much.